I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling it grows. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.
Welcome to episode 32 of the BJJ Campaign podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 2 stripes.
Phil Kors, A2 blue belt, 1 stripe. Jeff had the first competition I've ever seen live in person. So that was
Not the first
interesting.
competition you've ever seen live in person, right?
No, first one that the Iceman's ever competed at that I was also at. So that was exciting for me.
For those of you listeners who don't know, Phil has given me a nickname. That nickname is the Iceman. I embrace it.
Yeah, because Jeff does the Wim Hof method whenever he gets nervous when he's rolling in the gym. He likes to calm down with the breathing technique, the Wim Hof method.
Look it up. It's on YouTube.
It's exciting. But yeah, no, it was cool to see. I want to get your takeaways first, but I have some things I'm critical of what happened, but I will say what was good and what you've always said is you had a game plan and you did stick to it. And it worked, and you won. I expect you to win. You would no longer be on this podcast if you had lost. So no pressure there. But anyway, what did you think? What were your takeaways?
So, yeah, it was fun. First off, Melanie, the person who I went to for the hypnosis, used air quotes on hypnosis. Yep. It was really a guided deep meditation is what she did, and it really helped. I mean, my nerves were better than they've ever been before any competition, whether it was wrestling, whether it was jiu-jitsu, any competition. I felt really good. You did joke about doing the Wim Hof breathing exercises, but whenever I started getting nervous, I did those, and it calmed me down. It was my mindset was good, which was really good. That was the positives that I took away. Again, I wasn't concerned about the result, or so I thought. And I did execute the game plan that I planned. I planned on taking people down, which I did on their shots, and moving to side control, better positions, and then getting the finish. But the bad for me was I felt tied to the result. And that's not what it's about. It's not what we preach it's about, and I'm just being honest. I mean, I wanted the wins, and I was going out there to win. Again, I don't think that's a bad thing. Right?
No, I think in a competition setting, that's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
We started to talk about this the other night, but I didn't want to talk about it until we got here. But you said you were tied to the result in competition. I think you should be.
Okay.
And then when you go back to training, I think you should go back and train the way that we normally try to.
Right.
If you're tied to the result when you're training all the time, which is going to happen. I just talked about it the other day, how it's been happening to me, and I don't want it to happen,
Sure.
But that's different. And then when you get in the competition, you should be competing. It's in the name,
Yeah.
You should be trying to win. That is, I think some things should have went differently, but trying to win definitely wasn't one of those. So I totally disagree with that. I see what you're saying, and I get that it doesn't matter, but
I feel like I'm being hypocritical.
Yeah, why are you even doing it,
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to be doing it again until purple belt.
Yeah, so it's like, if you're going to go out there to compete, you better do, your best to win.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
So I thought I disagreed when you said that the other night. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that doesn't carry over. You don't train that way. So
No,
I don't think that's really an issue. I did see you do the breathing exercise once. You seemed fine all day. There's
I was.
a little bit of, to me, it looks a little anxious-like, but, I don't think there's one person who isn't.
Oh, no, I'm not going to say there was no anxiety. I'm not going to say that. That's not the point. I mean, there's always going to be anxiety right before, but it wasn't debilitating. It wasn't like it was. It wasn't so bad that it inhibited my breathing, which in some cases previously it had been.
Okay, yeah, because I thought you looked fine all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I felt fine.
We were talking and joking around the whole time, so there was none of that really going on.
Sure.
Then once the match started, I mean, you're totally hypnotized by the handsome ref.
Oh God, Chris Luter's so handsome, man.
So,
World champion, brown belt, masters. Handsome fella. If you see the videos up on our BJJ Campaign Facebook page, that is Chris Luter. And he did a phenomenal job refereeing our match. Really did nothing but walk around. And
he actually just went wherever Molly was trying to record.
Yeah. She did get mad at him, but then forgave him because he was so handsome.
That's to be expected. So, but I saw the breathing exercise once,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty much it. And then I thought you looked composed the entire time when you were out there. So there was no because even some of mine, when I get to the stand-up thing, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm always looking like a wild animal in the breathing competition. So once you get on the ground, I'm fine. But in the stand-up, I'm not. And you were fine the entire time.
I was really composed because I really wanted to get that wrist lock, that standing self-defense wrist lock. That's what I was looking for the entire time. I wanted somebody to really come in at my collar because I really wanted to try that wrist lock, but I didn't get it.
Okay. So you would say the biggest takeaways were the breathing techniques work?
Yeah.
Do you think that's something you'd go back again for? Or do you think that's something that you could, do you think that's a thing you could work on to improve for something else? Or would that just be strictly a competition, maybe go back before the next one? Or maybe just try to do what you...
No, actually, I'm glad you asked that because the hypnosis or guided meditation, there was one little thing that she really kind of put into my head. I'll just say that, and that is, it was funny because you're laying down, you're very relaxed, you're breathing, and she's guiding this meditation, and she says, okay, now I want you to picture a dial or a switch in your head, either one. And that dial or that switch is that fight or flight response, is that anxiety. And so now you have the control. Whenever you start the match, you can turn that dial up. You can turn that dial up to what the appropriate level is, which for me, I turned it up to 5 in my head whenever I went into the match. Before the match, I was bringing it all the way down to 1 on that. And it sounds silly, maybe a little bit, but it really helps. That visualization really helps. And you can do that with anything in your life, right? If it's anxiety for work or for social interactions or whatever it is that you're trying to improve about yourself.
Yeah.
You can take that dial in your head and you can turn it to whatever you want.
But it doesn't necessarily sound silly to me because that's exactly what I was trying to do when I competed. I think I said it before one of the last competitions was my biggest goal is to go out there and be calm and try to roll in a competition setting as close as I can to the training setting. So, in my head, before it starts and when we hit the ground, basically, it's not there when I'm standing up. But when we hit the ground, I'm thinking, slow down, calm down. You have time. Whatever is running through my head is trying to back that dial down, essentially. Because the first couple matches I had was always at, 100. And that's dumb. you know?
Yeah, no, your body can't take that, right? I mean, you can only be amped up for so long on that. That's why, I did a couple things different. I warmed up with rolling. I got a good sweat going beforehand. So it was like, you were going that second wind. That really helped. I mean, I don't know that I was ever really breathing hard during any of the matches. And the one match went, what, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
But, and again, all part of the strategy as well is that I'm not going to rush anything because I know the deeper the waters go, I know where my cardio is at.
Right.
And I know that's one of my strong suits is that I do have really good cardio, and that was what I was depending on as well.
Yeah, cool. So, getting into what actually happened, if I'm going to be a little critical of, obviously you won, so you can't be too critical. You had a game plan, you did it, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought you spent too long like sticking to the game plan, staying on the feet. That was like the first thing I told you when you got it down. I think one of the things that I would say I respect the most about you as like a training partner is how seriously you take all those little details that they go over to try to make the techniques work. And I think for a guy your size that you can play, bottom really well, and I'm very confident in your jiu-jitsu if you were to have pulled guard and looked for a sweep right away. I think I get why that's not maybe the A game plan, but I also think, like, as a strategy standpoint, for you and somebody else who's both your size, I think typically the average person your size is going to be bigger than most people in their gym and going to spend the majority of their time on top. So if you can pull guard and sweep them, I think a lot of times they're dealing with guard players. The guard players are typically a little smaller. They're a little easier to overpower. I think they couldn't overpower you the same way that they're used to. I think your sweeps would feel stronger. I think you would have pulled guard, swept immediately, and got on top, which is, I think a solid game plan for you. So thoughts on that?
But it was my game plan to start with, right? Mm-hmm. And then I talked to somebody that's way better at jiu-jitsu than me.
Right.
Ryan Legs, right? Leggett. And he did it so fun. It was so funny how he did it too. I was like, hey, Legs, it was our Friday, open mat after fundamentals. I was like, hey, I want to practice pulling guard because that's my game plan. He was like, oh, all right. Okay. And then I would grab his collar, I'd grab his sleeve, he'd let me, and I'd put my foot up in his hip, and then I'd start to go down, and immediately, as soon as I started to go down, he took his hand and just whacked my foot off his hip and got inside. I pulled side control basically 5 times in a row. He goes, you still think it's a good idea to pull guard? I was like, no, I'm beginning to think that's not the right game plan.
Yeah.
And so I was like, he's like, Jeff, you got good takedowns, just take them down, get on top, finish them that way. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Makes more sense.
I see why that changed your mind, but let me offer this point.
Okay.
When you went to start with Ryan and take him down and finish the match on top, how did that go?
I pulled him in side control from the what's it called, where you
collar drag?
Collar drag, yeah. Both hands on the collar, and I immediately pulled him in side control. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the game plan that you went with of getting on top and finishing with a Kimura also didn't work against the black belt.
That's a good point, Phil.
Yeah.
Great point.
All my game plans with Ryan never worked.
No.
Neither did my technique.
Except if my game plan included being miserable on the bottom with my face covered with his gi and submitted whenever at his whim.
Yeah, the Predator. Come on, do it.
Do it.
So, yeah, I mean, I get that, I get why that seems to be the best game plan, is for you with your wrestling background to work a takedown or whatever else. I also think that's going to be the game plan you run into. I think just from a strategy game, standpoint, I think you would you're not good at pulling guard. How often do you do it? You know, it's the same thing with everything else, you know? So I think if you spend a little bit of time figuring out how to pull guard and not get ankle locked in 30 seconds like some of us do, you know, you'd be able to pull guard and because you don't even need to, like when I pull guard, I need to pull close guard. You're pretty comfortable just having somebody in an open guard scenario and starting at bottom.
Or even half guard. I like half guard too.
I think all your sweeps, you know, I think you would have been fine. That's my biggest critique basically is I think, again, I'm always going to think you're better than you think you are. You know,
sure.
And the same for me. You know, I think I suck and you think
you are way better than you think you are.
So that, I understand that. But with you not competing much, I get why you'd want to stick with, you know, a bread and butter type thing, you know.
Sure.
I think if you were to start competing a little bit more, this would be the game plan, and I think it would be really successful. I guess when I mean critique, I'm saying that it's almost like, I think if you went out and just trusted your bottom jiu-jitsu more, and gave that a shot, I think you would have been surprised with how easily, you know, you could have made it work.
But that's the thing, Phil. I do trust my jiu-jitsu game. I mean, you know, I've been playing. I mean, I from early on. Probably 3 months in, I was like, I'm bigger, and I was much bigger then.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to play top. I need to not play top.
Right.
You know, and that's what I've worked on. Is that?
And I think that mentality is sort of what separates you from a lot of people your size. I could be wrong. I mean, when you see typical people that seem to like takedowns and playing on top, and then when you see typical people who are guard players, usually guard players are smaller, more flexible, and people who are built more solid tend to like to be on top.
Shredded, you mean?
Absolutely jacked, yeah.
So here's my takeaway from it, and I'm going to include you in this, and that is maybe my game plan was too rigid, but maybe your game plan is too loose or non-existent.
I don't have a game plan. Yeah, we've covered that.
I know. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So maybe you need to have a little more of a game plan. Maybe I need to have a little less of a game plan.
I don't know. Because you did, well, I don't know. Because your game plan, you did it and it worked. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe you stuck to it a little too much because like it was 12 minutes you were standing up.
Yeah.
You know, fighting for a takedown.
Yeah.
And then
You're right.
when he kind of went for a takedown, I mean, there was no guard. You passed it immediately.
Yeah.
You know, that's the same I would have been if somebody tried to pull guard on you. I would expect you to essentially immediately pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So that, you know, you've been working on that for like a year with people. I can't keep you remotely in any form of guard. So, I mean, my guard's not great, but, you know, it's non-existent when we roll. So I would have thought you would have passed it pretty much right away. I think the only scenario that would have slowed you down was being super committed to a takedown with another guy who's big, your size, who's also going to be 100% committed to a takedown.
Yeah.
You know? That was just again, you can't be too critical when it's the format is designed to run this way. There's no time limit. It's both people doing what they're best at until they get the submission.
Yeah.
You know, if there was a 5-minute time limit and it was points, maybe it would make more sense for you to, you know, go for the takedown for a minute. If it seems like you're both going to fight super hard, maybe pull guard, look for the sweep that way, you know, but there's no time limit. You can take your time. And the cardio, like you said, for a bigger guy, you can go a long time.
For any
amount of time necessary.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it was basically just my thought where, and I guess I'm super biased because I think being on bottom's way better. That's what I do all the time.
No, I like it. I would have, man, I would have liked to have done that fell. I would have liked to have done it, but it just wasn't in the game plan, and I wasn't going to deviate.
Yeah, that's like I wanted to yell it out, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it because if I yelled it out and then something stupid happened, I would have felt like a dick, and
Well, I mean, I would have called you a dick.
Yeah, so it's, I don't want to do that because it's, again, you're not looking to compete all the time.
Yeah.
You're doing it at this pace you're gonna do it. So it's not a good idea to just throw a curveball out there after you've drilled and trained and game planned and mentally prepared to go out and do a certain thing. For me to just be like, no, change everything. That's something I would do last minute.
Yeah,
it's not
for
something
sure.
other people do.
Right.
Successful people do different things. They don't change their mind at the last second and just start to do this other stuff they haven't planned on doing.
Yeah, no, it was a good experience. The two guys I competed against, top notch, really nice guys. I mean, it was fun. Tom, the second guy, we even were a little bit chatty in there. We talked a little bit whenever we were in the competition, out there doing our thing. And because I tried to get him in that baseball bat choke at one time, and whenever I went down for it, and he I heard him go, I was like, oh yeah, it's tight. And then he rolled out of very nicely, and I was like, nice job, that was tight. He's like, I know. But it was a nice feel. It was a good feel. Here's the thing: the takeaway for me, not even about my jiu-jitsu, is it's that you meet new people, friends, whenever you're there. Right after the match, I was like, hey, Chris Luter, Jeff Boone, BJJ Campaign podcast, we'd love to have you on. It was a world champion brown belt, Masters world champion brown belt. Love to have you on the show. He's like, yeah, sure, man, I'll do that. So we got Chris Luter, we got Brian Crandall, we got DeAndre Corby, unbelievable. He's going to go up against Joao Miao in the next Toro Cup 14 on June 15th, right?
Yeah.
June 15th. And then Chrissy and Greg Lindsay, the owners, co-owners of U.S. Grappling. So, you get to meet a lot of friends, you get to spread the word, and, everyone was so nice. Everyone did great. The kids, Christopher and Isaac, they did great. Joey was unbelievable in his matches. I mean, so proud of him. He's gotten so much better so fast. It's been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's okay.
he's all right. Yeah, you're right.
Also, I guess before we move on from your match stuff, another thing I put in a quick Facebook note yesterday as I was thinking about all this stuff, but was it over a year ago you got your blue belt, or are we right at a year?
I got May 14th. What is today?
Today's the 13th.
It's 364 days.
So that night you texted me and said, I want to spend the majority of my time working on the fundamentals and heel hooks. And I thought it was cool to see, we worked together the Friday before, pretty much because I made the comment about the weapons defense stuff, and I was like, oh, I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. Oh, we were trash at it too.
Yeah, real bad. So, here, just take my, I don't have any, you can have the wallet. So,
it's worth like $10. That wallet is.
So, that was kind of what, I was like, well, I don't even remember the last time I worked in a fundamentals class.
I know. It's usually the advanced class that we work. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. But then, we work in the half guard pass to get to the mount. And I thought it was cool that you basically got in that position. You, again, take the little details of trying to get the hips flat, walking the feet to the center, using the shoulder pressure, and you incorporating those immediately the next day in a competition setting. But really actually focusing on the fundamentals, because that's something I've been thinking about a little bit as I've been trying to get on top more, is all these fundamental positions, obviously, as they work. But, for you to actually do it, because your both submissions were the wrist lock from the Kimura armbar position and
A bread cutter.
Bread cutter. So, you know, all fundamentals positions.
Yep.
The half guard position. John even yelled out, like, nice fundamentals class last night or whatever.
That's exactly right. It was, you know, I put my finger in his armpit, pulled him to me, walked the legs around, and that pressure was, I know, I wouldn't want to have been there.
I mean, you can see
I would
in
not
the video,
have wanted to be there.
You see he's like pushing up, and you can see the like readjustment, throw the arms up, like doing nothing, just like you know, you can see that I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yesterday. So many times, you know, of that, like just kind of accepting that this is going to suck for a while. Like they're never going to tap to the shoulder pressure.
No.
But like you can see it's wearing on them.
But they want to.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible. Yeah, no, it's.
But I thought that was cool because you've said, you know, you want to focus on fundamentals. You hit all the fundamental positions, and did them well. But again, so good job.
Thank you. No, I mean, you know, that's where it's at. I mean, Hodger Gracie, one of the greatest of all time. That's what he does, fundamentals. And he was, 7-time world champ? I don't know how many times. Something crazy. I mean.
Did he ever lose?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he ever lost in a competition.
Huh.
But you know, that's just something that you know, like when I was talking to Billy Dowie, whenever I trained with them, you know, it's like it's in the fundamentals. You know, all that fancy stuff, that's cool, but the fundamentals it beats that stuff. You know, there are things that you can do fundamentally that counter that type of jiu-jitsu. So,
yeah, I mean, I totally get it because like if I go to the De La Riva seems interesting to me, and
sure.
I could see how it would be very effective against somebody who's larger. But if somebody comes in for the like fundamental guard pass and they just stuff my knee into my shoulder, I can't get there.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't exist.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. So what else, Billy?
That was the majority of what I wanted to talk about with you and your strategy. I thought it was really cool to see. I was excited.
Thanks.
So you'll probably compete next weekend also.
Well, no.
You're just fully addicted now.
No, I don't.
Also, another point I liked a lot was that you show up the next day to go back to training. I like that.
I mean, well,
Yeah, of course, but yeah.
Sunday rolls. That's our deal, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's our deal. We got people. We got Delvin. We got Jeremiah. We got people that depend on us to open up on Sundays.
Mm-hmm. It's just cool to see because some people would, you know, win their Greensboro competition and take a couple weeks off.
Well, I will say this. I did sleep in a bit Sunday morning because as you know, I celebrated.
Celebration.
I celebrated Saturday night.
You did.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
So, you know, hot tub. We got, you know, there was a lot going on that night. It was fun.
It's a good day.
Yeah, it was. It was a good day. So we've cut this one a little short. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I wanted to cover the stuff I thought was really good that you did. The stuff I think you could have done differently, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, like if the purpose is to win, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
And going all the way back to what you were telling me that night, you were like, oh, I was too attached to the outcome, and I don't necessarily think that that's true because if you're like, that was the whole reason I didn't compete. Because I literally just didn't really feel like it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was indifferent about it.
Well, there's nothing
like I
wrong
could
with
have
that.
shown up, I could have done it, and if I didn't do it, I didn't care. All the other ones I wanted to do, like
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why? What?
I don't really know. I've thought a lot of it was early, like the first couple competitions were like pure. Like I'm competitive anyway. Like
Sure.
Competing is a fun, you know, driving force for me.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it was driven by like insecurity in jiu-jitsu. Like I didn't think I could, you know, I basically wanted to prove to myself that I'm learning something and, you know, getting better and looking for a measuring stick of some sort because it's really hard to do that when you're training because.
And probably not appropriate either.
So I was looking for that outside measuring stick and, you know, I have a rough idea of where I'm at.
Sure.
In relation to most people.
Sure.
And then I wanted to get I really wanted to win
Sure.
the competition, and then I wanted to not freak out in the competition.
And you did all those things.
Yeah. So,
Wanted to not blow out your grips in the first 30 seconds?
yes. Or my ankle. Also, another thing was that fear, right, of getting submitted in 20 seconds, 30 seconds or whatever. And Elijah did that. He grabbed my ankle because I pulled guard awfully, and he just, ripped it off. I was like, oh, I know the defense to this. I tried my defense, and he, ruined it, And I was like, all right, well, you have to let go now. So it was terrible.
The Master Ken defense.
Yeah. So
The double tap.
So I did what I really wanted to do. I had my worst fear happen all within 6 months of competing, and winning wasn't as great as I imagined.
The
and
glory
losing
wasn't there.
that bad. So it was the worst.
All
fear.
at the same time.
Yeah. So it's it was but I'm gonna do it again.
Sure.
I just I don't really have aspirations to be the world champion. That's not really
Especially blue belt. Who cares?
my thing. But yeah, so maybe when I think I said last week or whatever that I feel like I'm 4% through blue belt or whatever, but I think that's because I'm trying now to be able to get on top when I want to get on top, at least with new people, be able to get on top when I want to get on top.
So you understand that really upsets Schluter because your math is off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. See, but he doesn't
Because
understand. It's
one
not
stripe
that.
is 1/4 of a stripe. That's 25% through, not 4%.
Yeah, I understand where he thinks that one stripe means 25%.
Yeah.
But that's not how this works.
Okay. Well, it seems like it is. It's kind of been the system that we've been going through.
Yeah, but the time frame is different.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Also, I'm allowed to assume I'm wherever I'm at. I just said I have a pretty good idea. I could be totally wrong.
Sure.
That's
Yeah, I mean, it's not your choice of where you're at. John's the one who decides where you're at.
I'm terrible at jiu-jitsu. I'm confident about that. So, but yeah, I'd like to be able to get to the top, with new people.
Sure.
When I want to get on top, and I'm still trying to learn, and explore open guard stuff. And I guess in my head, when I feel confident that I at least have the idea, right? With the closed guard, I have the idea of what to do, And I feel like if I can get to that base competent level with
Being
on top and with an open guard, and I've expanded, my skills a little bit, that I probably like to test those in competition. But I don't necessarily. I know what's going to happen if I go compete right now. If I pull guard and get him in the closed guard, I have a chance. If I don't, I lose. I'm super confident that that's exactly what would happen. I don't need to.
I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but I think that your percentages go way up if you get them to close guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I basically, I feel right now that I want to be able to expand on that before I compete again, and then try to do something else. And
with Brad's leg lock seminar that we go to next weekend.
Even the leg locks.
Love the leg
Yeah,
locks.
pretty
Are
leg
you
lock.
kidding me? Love that. If I was on bottom, that's what was going to happen because I was going to get into that Ashi position.
Joey got one, right?
Yeah,
He
he did.
got a lock.
Yeah.
It's just ankle locks, right? At blue belt.
Straight ankle, straight foot lock, straight ankle lock. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. In the gi.
Yeah, I'll have to see how I don't really know what he was doing because he was face down. I don't really know how he did that ankle lock.
Yeah. Very effectively. We got tapped twice to it.
Yeah.
Once verbal.
Yeah.
Second real,
Yeah.
and he should have just took the first one because it popped. But yeah, no, it was good. It was fun. I had a great experience, and I see value in competition. I won't be doing any IBJJF stuff. I won't be doing any just strictly points competition because
I'm not interested in that.
It doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't interest me to play to those positions, to play for the finish. That's it. That's all. So
And for people who are listening who have never competed and think you're not interested in it, I strongly recommend trying it once.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like Jeff wants to do once at every belt, but I would say at least try it once because it really puts a new perspective on training. Like, especially if you're comfortable. Like, I was not really comfortable rolling the first time I did it as a white belt, but like the second and third time I kind of was, and it was still so different when you get out there. The mindset change, and like, you know, AJ Klingerman said it that really made a lot of sense to me. You know, it's like if you train for self-defense purposes, like nobody's coming at you like that in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but in a competition, people, and they're still friendly, but they're coming for the win. You know? Like that's the purpose of this. So if you want to, maybe not even to see like if you would win, but maybe just to see how you would handle that stress, because it's way different.
It is, yeah.
So I definitely think people should, you know, if you're serious about training, at least try competing one time.
Yeah, I think there's...
Winning and losing doesn't matter, but I think it's more for a personal development standpoint.
Yeah, I totally agree. I completely agree. But Phil, tell the listeners how they can support us.
Patches should be here. I'm really excited for the patches.
Yeah, of course.
Patches should be here soon. We have cool t-shirts available on the website, bjjcampaignpodcast.com. Facebook, / BJJ Campaign Podcast, Twitter, Instagram. How else? Am I missing one?
They can support us by leaving maybe a review.
Reviews on iTunes would be
you know, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do jiu-jitsu.
YouTube / BJJ
Oh,
Campaign
YouTube,
Podcast also.
yeah, that's right. That, and also, like I say, just recommend us to your friends. Grow the podcast. That's what we want to reach more people if we can. And I think that's it. I think we covered it, Phil.
Good. So again, good job on the competition.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again in 5 years for your next one.
Yeah, exactly. No, I enjoyed having you and Molly and and everybody there. And John was there. You know, my first competition, he wasn't able to make it, and so it was nice to have him there in my corner. So.
And again, I keep saying this one last thing. I had in my notes there as I was skimming before I gave you the thing back. You did keep in mind from Ryan saying the submission is a gift, and you kept that in mind.
Oh, that's
part of kind of staying composed, right? Where you're not just like immediately chasing something, but going with the shoulder pressure, going with the slow passes.
You're right, because it was going in my head. I was like, I was just sitting there with that shoulder pressure, and I was going, submission is a gift. Submission is a gift. And sure enough, it was both times. So that's the cool stuff that you learn, right? I mean, that's why it's so fun. It's why it's so fun learning. It's so fun applying it, So with that, folks, if you're not doing something out there to get better each and every day, get out there and do it. Phil and I choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. And slap it up, bump it, let's roll.